Ever since the franchise's inception in 1984, Transformers has been a source of comfort and fun to many. But to a very unlucky few, the Transformers franchise has been the inception of decades worth of fear and terror, instigated by the sighting of hundreds of scary little goblins. My name is PaperPlane, and in this video, I will be counting down the top 5 scariest goblin findings in the 40-year history of the Transformers franchise. I must warn you, viewer discretion is advised. Number 5. Scalpel. In this clip posted online in the late 2000s, we can see shocking footage of a young man being assaulted by a disgusting baby goblin, who sticks its grubby little fingers into the poor boy's nose. If you thought this couldn't get much worse, it summons an even smaller goblin worm, which deep-throats the man and invades almost every orifice in his face. Let me tell you, if I ever had a disgusting goblin crawling around inside my head, I think I wouldn't be able to live with myself. One can only imagine the emotional damage this event caused on this man's life going forward. Goblins are scary, but the horrors we make up in our own heads can sometimes be scarier. Number 4. Mohawk. This newly found footage was recovered from an abandoned town in the American South, which shows a terrifying goblin lurking the streets in search of its next victim. Everybody knows that goblins eat children, so we can only imagine how many this one has feasted upon given its terrifying size compared to the rest of the foul creatures on this list. Thankfully, the footage shows that this goblin is something we no longer have to worry about, as it is squashed like a bug and destroyed by a local hero. If I saw this disgusting freak in my town, I would do the exact same thing. Number 3. Wheelie. Probably the most infamous goblin sighting on this list. This clip shows a scary little goblin attempting to break into a safe containing money, candy, and babies to feast upon. The safe's owner quickly discovers a goblin is trying to get the babies inside, but bravely stops the goblin from eating any more babies by burning out its fucking goddamn eye. While this clip alone is pretty scary, the second half of the footage is what gives this particular goblin a spot at number 3. In an attempt to make peace with humanity, the goblin begins violently trying to make love with a regular human woman, much to the fearful and confused faces of the surrounding humans. Let me tell you, if I saw a revolting little mythical monster doing this to my girl, I would have goblin blood on my hands for years to come. Number 2. Laserbeak. The last thing you want to see when you return to your quiet suburban home is a flying goblin trying to befriend your young daughter. Unfortunately, that's exactly what you might get. This frightening flying goblin of the night disguised itself as a pink, friendly elf in an attempt to gain the trust of a small child. Unfortunately, before anyone could realize what was happening, it was too late. The creature transformed into its true form of a bloodthirsty winged goblin, attacking the family and surely eating them all. While this was surely a nightmare for everybody involved, I can't help but blame the parents for what has to be the worst case of parental negligence I have seen since my father took me to see Revenge of the Fallen at age 9. Despite their parents being to blame, it doesn't excuse the sickening behavior of the winged goblin who couldn't stop at just eating a small child, but had to eat her parents too. Number 1. Frenzy. Arguably the most terrifying goblin footage I have seen in Transformers belongs to this infamous clip captured in 2007 of a small goblin invading the president's private jet. This scrawny little monster can be seen climbing into the undercarriage of Air Force One and stealing the private information of every baby in the United States. We can only assume that this information will be delivered to the King Goblin and be used to track down every baby in the country, ready for stealing and feasting. It's understandable to think goblins are nothing more than tiny little freaks who can easily be kicked away, but they should never be underestimated. If they are powerful enough to get into Air Force One, a goblin could easily sneak into your home and eat your baby, or even worse, poke holes in your socks. Thank you for watching this video. My name is PaperPlane. Subscribe for even more scary Transformers sightings videos. Next week, we will be covering the top 5 scariest skinwalker sightings in Transformers. Number 5 is me.